statistically, it was a transition. We went back and watched, and sometimes you got to give the other team a high five and tell them great shot, great defense. They scored anyway. You move on. Wasn't that way all night, but the area of focus was definitely transition defense, and where we felt like we had some breakdowns, and we watched that in depth as a team, and we've been working on it.
What did you feel like the response was from the team, seeing the transition defense on film and then coming back to practice and trying to fix it?
I think they had a good response. We had some conversations about the game and what we needed to do better. I felt like they were pretty motivated going back out to practice.
Do you feel like the defensive struggles were more of a coming to a head all season and kind of culminating at Ole Miss, or do you feel like it was kind of a one-off defensive performance?
Our defense has gotten better. Statistically, it's gotten better. It was a tough night for us, and I know I'm going to go back to this. I'd be remiss if you can't overlook how well they played. So I don't want to take that away from them at all. They played terrific, but I think we could do some things better, and I think that's where we're still growing. You never want to be satisfied with where you're at. We're proud that we have improved in some areas, but we want to continue to get better there, and we know we can.
You talked about the physicality with Ole Miss on Rakia. On the film, it seemed like that's what kept her below her average, which is so high right now.
The game was definitely physical. We had some good looks at it. I mean, we got her the ball in some pretty good places, first half and second half, and just weren't able to finish. And we're so accustomed to her making every shot. She's human too. So we also late, obviously, we're giving Jewel Spear a lot of opportunities because she was producing on the offensive end. So I think for us, we just want to continue to find some easy opportunities for Rakia and her teammates. We want to try to find some easy shots rather than having to make difficult ones all night.
It felt like your posts weren't able to establish like a super dominant presence. How much do you feel like that impacted the way that game went?
Yeah, I thought. I agree. I thought their physicality took our post out of some opportunities that we normally get. I'll still go back to we still scored enough, but you want that presence established regardless, because it's going to help you on both ends of the court. It's going to help you on the boards. So that definitely an area that we wish we'd have been better, but credit their physicality for taking us out of that.
What did you think about the small ball lineup you went with later in that game with the post struggling?
We have so many players that can do a lot of different things. When we had Sarah and Rakia in at the post positions, obviously we're smaller. May not be the most physical team out there, but we can spread the floor. We can put the ball on the floor in a lot of ways. I thought there were moments that it was really good, and then and I thought we missed some of the physicality with that small lineup.
With tomorrow being the fourth road game in 5 contests, what have you guys kind of done to combat the toll that playing on the road can bring, and just how they've been handling all that time on the road?
Yeah, our off day is traditionally Monday, so you get that natural off day. Our sports medical staff, they do a great job of getting our players back, getting them recovered, and that's a lot of different methods, a lot of different things that they do. Our nutrition is important right now. Being in the weight room is actually still very important. You continue to do that to keep your body strong and able, but at the end of the day, kid folks, if I've got to go out and measure the court, let them know it's the same as Thompson Bowling Arena, I can do that.
How have you seen Jewel's confidence in the first row throughout the season leading up to that 30-point win?
Yeah, I think where we've seen Jewel's confidence grow is her ability to affect the game in multiple ways. She doesn't just have to score behind the 3-point line. Obviously she can. She's coming off of a game, 30 points and 4 threes in that 30 points, but she also got herself to the basket. She got herself to the free throw line. And I think that is where we've seen her confidence grow the most.
That whole game, it felt like every possession was a battle. You know, you're trying to come back against an Ole Miss team that just felt like wave after wave, they just had answers. How do you feel like your team handled that from a mental standpoint?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I thought, they'd hit a big shot and we would answer. I thought it went back and forth, and couple different outcomes. They miss a shot, we make a shot, and the outcome may be different. It was that tight. I thought it was a very physical, hard-played game, and I thought we stayed in a pretty good mental space. I mean, there was no panic, but there was some urgency at the end. We just didn't finish it, and that's where you want to be able to down the stretch get that stop, get that board, finish that layup.
How important is it coming off of a loss like Ole Miss to have a good performance against Georgia on the road?
At this point, I think it's important that you have a good performance every night, win, lose, or draw the previous game. I mean, it's you've got to be consistent, and for our team, we want to come back, have great practices. We want to play well every night. It's just important for consistency's sake, and it's important for momentum.
At this point in the season, what would you say has surprised you most about this team, whether it's positive or negative?
That's a great question. I have a hard time with the questions sometimes. I get asked a lot, what's your biggest surprise? Who surprised you? I rarely have surprises, and I think it's just just the intimate knowledge that we have of each individual, and we're there every single day with the team in practice, so there you kind of see everything coming, right? You don't see a lot of surprises, but I think they've had some resiliency. I think they've been great teammates. I don't know if that's been a surprise, but it's good to see nonetheless. It's a great question. I'm gonna have to get back with you on that one.
It felt like Ole Miss kept getting position on the boards on both ends of the court, and they only had 11 second chance points, but they came at kind of key moments. Just where do you feel like the biggest issue was rebounding and getting that position inside?
Yeah, there were a few after reviewing the film. There were a few boards that we gave up that we were in pretty good position, and they got it anyway. So if you're going to have some of those, you've got to get the ones you can get. So we had a lack of awareness a few times on our boards, just a lack of physicality on most of them. And I agree that the points, it felt like after the game I was surprised that it was only 11. It felt greater than that, but those 11 were timely, and I think that was the big difference.
How do you kind of fix that issue of the physicality? Just felt like there was a few areas where just the physicality got the better of your team. Just how do you fix that moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's in practice, and it's we have a pretty good group of practice players, and it's not backing down to them, and I think it's a mentality, but you've got to have that. You've got to have those reps being physical, and so we're trying to make sure that each and every day we're giving them some physical play, some opportunities to be more physical in practice. I think we've grown in that area, but playing Ole Miss and going down the stretch in the SEC, we're going to continue to see it.
When you are dominating on the boards and winning the rebounding more, how have you kind of seen that fuel or energize the rest of the play on the court of the game?
Oh, I think, those offensive boards, those type plays, they're hustle plays, and they give teams energy. They give you life. And at the same time, those are the plays that suck the life out of the opponent, and that's what we want to be able to get more of those, to win more loose balls, to be better on the boards on both ends.
What stands out about Georgia going into this matchup?
Georgia's physical. They're post heavy. They like to get the ball inside. Their post can shoot out in the perimeter as well. They're primarily a zone team. They are very stingy with their paint points. They just don't let you get it in there and get anything easy. Transition, they're going to push it quickly, and you know, if they don't have it, they'll set it up and they'll try to get it inside. But you know, they've got some good wins, and they are hard to play against.
Is there any difference in how you prepare for a team with a team like Georgia that's on a losing skid compared to a team that's really doing well?
No, you know, we go into each game with the same preparation. We try to keep that consistent. I think that's important for our team. We're not overlooking anyone. You know, we're not hyping someone up. You know, I think it's important that we're very consistent there. What we will do is watch what they've been really good at and what they haven't been good at. And, you know, they could be on a win streak or not, and we're going to try to find those things.
Talking about Jasmine Powell, what part of her growth are you most proud of over these last 2 seasons?
Yeah, I think her consistency has really improved, you know, from last year to this year. Her ability to affect the game in a lot of different ways. You know, I think she's taken a lot of pride in her defense, and she's really, when we're able to get her out there on the ball, she sets the tone for us defensively, gives her teammates a lot of confidence.
There were, you know, a lot of elements of that game that felt kind of like a postseason game. You know, late game execution situations. Is this a game that, you know, you want your team to be able to point back to and say, hey, we learned from these certain things, and now, you know, we're ready? Like, is there anything that stands out to you about a place where, hey, down the stretch, like, this is a game we can learn from these areas?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it's necessarily just down the stretch. It's throughout, and what it is, it was a competitive, tough, physical game that felt like a postseason game, 100%. And what we have to learn is that mistake in the second quarter might have been the play of the game, and that's where you have to be great for 40 minutes. It's not just down the stretch, and I think that's the awareness that our team has to have, the urgency that we have to have on every single possession. You know, if it was win or lose every single possession, are you playing differently? And that's the growth that we want to get out of the game.
How's Destiny dealing with the recovery process of just being able to become a vocal voice on the team?
Destiny is quiet by nature, but you know, we've been able to hear her a little bit, talking with the team about maybe some observations. But I think she's working hard. It's a tough rehab. There's no doubt about it. It's a tough rehab. So you know, she's focused in on that. But at the same time, I think she's giving back to her teammates, and you know, I'm proud of her, and I think she'll be able to come out of this very strong.
Jules shooting 64% is impressive in itself, but also when you factor in, like, a lot of those were really tough buckets. Just what do you feel like she showed you about her mentality and her ability to kind of, you know, step up in those moments on Sunday?
Yeah, I thought Jules' confidence and aggressiveness showed. I think those were the two things about her that allowed her to put points on the board, to make plays when we needed them, and you know, her focus was there, her drive was there, and just really, really, honestly, just proud of that aggressiveness that she had when we needed it the most. All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all.
Safe travels to Athens.
Thank you.